It began as a modest Australian soap about a quiet cul-de-sac in suburban Melbourne. But in 1986, Neighbours crossed hemispheres and found an unexpected home across the world. Neighbours first aired in Australia in 1985, but it wasn't an instant success. Cancelled by one network and picked up by another, it was just finding its feet when the BBC came calling. The BBC were looking for something to contrast the dark, depressing tones set by EastEnders, and Neighbours gave them exactly that. The show was vibrant and featured something quite alien to the British public: blue skies and sunshine. If that wasn't enough, the inclusion of young characters that at some point in time we've all fancied made Neighbours one of the most watched shows in 1980s Britain. Aside from being a fun show to watch, Neighbours created a plethora of wannabe pop stars. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the Aussie actors who adorned our screens in the 1980s and determine if they can actually sing or not. Craig McLachlan played the part of Henry Ramsey from February 1987 until November 1989, when he jumped ship to join the cast of the rival Aussie soap Home and Away and played the character Grant Mitchell. No, not that Grant Mitchell. It was during this time that he launched his musical career with his band Craig McLachlan and Check 1 2. Their first single, Rock the Rock, was released in Australia only and was a moderate success, peaking at number 36 on the Australian charts. Their second single, Mona, was a global success, peaking at number 3 in Australia and number 2 in the UK. A further 2 singles were released to promote the self-titled debut album, but neither could replicate the success of Mona. The album did reasonably well, hitting the number 4 spot in the Australian album charts and a respectable number 10 in the UK. He continued to release new music up until 1996 without any great success, but he did have one bright spot in 1993 when he once again appeared on British television singing "You're the One That I Want" with 80s sensation Debbie Gibson on Top of the Pops.
I got chills, they're multiplying, and I'm losing control.
There's often the suggestion that actors like McLachlan only get recording contracts because of their popularity on hit TV shows, so let's isolate his vocals to determine if he actually can sing or not.
We can go pierce and through the blind. When you come down on my front, listen to my heart go bumping a bump. I need you, baby, and that's no lie. Without your love, I'd surely die.
There's no question that he can hold a tune, but if he hadn't been Henry Ramsey, would that recording contract have been forthcoming? Probably not. Stefan Dennis, who is better known as Paul Robinson on Neighbours for many years, was another to jump on the pop bandwagon when he released his first single in 1989 called "Don't It Make You Feel Good." The song itself is nothing to write home about, and if you asked Siri or Alexa to play a song containing as many 80s cliches as possible, the chances are that they would play this song. Unlike many of his co-stars on the show, he lacked the youthful good looks that would send teenage girls running to the record store. So I'm not really sure who this song was aimed at. Regardless, it reached number 16 in the UK singles chart, which is actually quite respectable. But can he actually sing?
Feeling your heart beating close to my heart, even closer together when we're apart. Nothing else matters, it's true. You loving me and me loving you, gonna make it feel good.
Much like Craig McLachlan, his singing is by no means terrible, but I think it's fair to say that without the success of Neighbours, the dream of becoming a pop star would have remained just that, a dream. Guy Pearce, who played Mike Young from 1986 until 1989, and then from 2022 until 2024, stepped up to the microphone with his 1989 single, Call of the Wild. Following his initial departure from Neighbours in 1989, he starred in the Australian movie Heaven Tonight, and the single Call of the Wild is from that movie's soundtrack. As the movie was a commercial flop, so too was the single, and there are no records of it making a dent in the charts. Call of the Wild was a typical synth rock track from that era, and in all honesty, it's not that bad. As we're about to hear, he has an okay voice, but it's evident he's not a trained vocalist.
Foot to the floor, right through the night. I've got a chip on my shoulder, and it don't sit right. This nightclub life can't keep me down.
Due to the lack of information here, I'm going to make the assumption that the single was part of the contract to get him to star in the movie. And now we move on to the duo that you probably tuned in to find out about. Starting with Jason Donovan, who of course played Scott Robinson from 1985 until 1989. He launched his pop career while still appearing in Neighbours in 1988 with the Stock Aitken and Waterman produced track Nothing Can Divide Us. This was a commercial hit, reaching number 3 in Australia and number 5 in the UK. This led to a string of hits, including a duet with a certain young lady we'll be looking at next. An interesting fact about Nothing Can Divide Us is that the song was initially presented to Rick Astley, who decided to give it up. So far, I've been of the opinion that while these actors are certainly capable of carrying a tune, none of them are great vocalists in the classic sense, and this is certainly true of Jason Donovan.
Don't cry, there has to be some trust inside us. Don't let it slip away. Don't ever let a lie divide us. So don't believe a word they're saying.
There's a flatness to his voice that just can't be ignored. What do you think? And finally, we have the girl that kicked off this whole trend of Neighbours stars attempting to become pop stars. Kylie Minogue played the part of Charlene Ramsey from 1986 until 1988, and in July of 1987, she showed the world she was more than just a pretty face with the release of her first single, the Stock Aitken and Waterman produced Locomotion. This was the catalyst for a glittering pop career, and despite still being active in the world of film and television, it's her pop career that she's now most famous for. She has constantly released new music, the most recent being her 2024 album Tension 2, and continues to wow audiences on tour. There's no question that her pop career was launched to capitalize on her popularity on Neighbours, but could she actually sing?
My little baby says nothing to do it with me. It's easier than learning your ABCs. So come on, do the love motion with me. You gotta swing your hips now. Come on, baby.
Without question, yes, she can sing, and it's worth mentioning that while there was most certainly studio magic going on back in the late 80s, technology like autotune was still years away. So what you're hearing is her actual voice, and she hits the notes perfectly. When listening to the isolated vocals on the duet, especially for you with Jason Donovan, it's quite evident that the song only contains one real singer, as once again, Donovan is coming in flat, and it's Kylie's talent that salvages the song.
Especially for you, I wanna tell you, you mean all the world to me.
How I'm certain that our love was meant to be. You changed my life.
You showed me the way.
So, to summarize, I think it's fair to say that with the exception of Kylie Minogue, none of these artists would have landed a record contract had it not been for the fact they appeared in Neighbours. I'm not for a minute suggesting they're bad singers. I'm just saying that their vocal abilities did not merit recording deals. Do you still listen to any of the artists featured in this video? I'd love to hear your comments. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.